Hey everyone, welcome back to RealDealCast, where we try to unravel the mystery that is tech and how you can use it in your real estate investing. Well, a lot of people are migrating to Claude for various reasons, and makes a lot of sense in some regards. But what you may not be used to is the concept of those limits associated with the subscription. So whether you're on that $20 a month plan all the way up to that $200 a month plan, in this episode, I'm going to give you 18 tips to try to maximize your token use and make the most out of that subscription you might be on. So let's get started. Okay, so hack number one is let's start the conversation fresh each time. And I know this is going to be weird and it seems strange, but if you don't do this and you let that thread continue to grow, Claude will read the entire thread before it gives you the answer, and it will consume a lot of tokens because of it. So it is best to start a new conversation each time. Another thing is don't paste the entire document. I saw somebody recently who pasted a 40-page document that Claude had to consume in its entirety before being able to provide an answer. If you have specifics you want clarity on, it's best to just give Claude those particular pages within a document. Be specific and directive in your prompts. This is something that kind of goes counterintuitive because you're going to see quite a few people out there who will tell you to just hit the microphone button and start rambling. That's great. And if you're just doing a one-off conversation or trying to get a quick answer, maybe that is ideal. But if it's going to be something that you're trying to build upon or work through, it is going to consume quite a bit of tokens there. So being precise in your prompts. So instead of saying something like, help me with this deal, you might say, analyze the cap rate and cash on cash return using these numbers, and give them the specific numbers. Fewer back and forth exchanges equals less tokens. Hack number 4, use bullet points instead of paragraphs. And as a Gen Xer, this is right up your alley. Bullet points is actually for the win, and it's kind of our superpower in some way. So being concise and short. And actually, on the backside, hack number 5 is asking for shorter outputs. Claude is going to like to expound on what it's trying to give you. And telling it phrases such as be concise, give me bullet point only options, limit your answer to 150 characters. That is actually going to reduce your token spend as well. Hack number 6, use templates you've pre-written. So you create a Google Doc with your standard prompts for common real estate tasks like lease clauses, offer letters, tenant notices, deal memos, and then paste only what you need rather than re-explaining the context for everything. So before we go into the next round of tasks, I just want to ask you, if you found some value in what I'm bringing to you so far, do me a quick favor, like and subscribe, and it really goes a long way. Even better, if you would comment below on how you're leveraging AI in your real estate investing business so somebody else can learn from you, that would be awesome. So hack number 7, and now we're kind of jumping into tier 2. I'm going to call these tier 2s because they're just slightly more advanced. These are smarter workflows for active investors. So hack number 7 is break big projects into phases. So instead of, like, if you're launching your real estate investing business and you want full property management SOPs, don't tell Claude you want that. Build me a full property management SOP and have it go crazy. You want to specify, even if you use AI to help you specify these, but you might want to break things up into tenant screening SOP, maintenance request SOP, move out SOP. You want to break these into categories so you get smaller, more manageable results. Number 8, use a context seed file. And this is what I mean by that. We create a short 200-word summary of your business that you can copy and paste at the beginning of each of your chat sessions, just as a summary to get that chat window up to speed. And so it doesn't have to consume so much context before it starts working for you. Hack number 9, compress deal data before pasting. So before pasting a deal financials, run the raw numbers through a spreadsheet first and only give Claude the computed figures it needs to analyze, not raw data it has to sort through. And you might actually use other cheaper AIs to help you accomplish this. And this is actually why I have two subscriptions, my Claude subscription and an OpenAI or ChatGPT subscription, so I can actually use one to subsidize the other. So you might want to consider that. But in the end, keep some of that information concise. Use Claude for one job per message. And this kind of goes back to the other one previously, but this is a little bit more associated with this. So don't ask Claude to draft a lease addendum, then write a follow-up email to the tenant and also summarize the inspection report. You see the series of events there? That's just going to get your thread longer and longer, and kind of it's almost like multitasking. We have a problem multitasking. AI has a problem with this to a certain extent within the same thread as well. So every time you do this, it's going to have to reapply that context. So you do each task individually in a separate chat, and you'll get better output using the context more effectively. So hack number 11, summarize long conversations before continuing. And this is especially important when I get into the next one, because imagine you're deep into a thread. You'll want to ask Claude, summarize everything we've discussed so far in 5 bullet points. Then start a fresh chat, pasting that summary. This is the real estate investor's version of compressing the context window. So I hope that kind of makes sense, but this is especially important when you're working in projects, because hack number 12 actually leads us into projects. So if you're paying for a subscription, you have access to projects, and you'll want to start using projects as a way to apply context for every chat you have within that project. What I have learned to do is that if there is something in a thread within the project that I'm working on, I will actually have it summarize what we just worked through. And then I apply that as a file within that project so that it has reference and that context going forward. But you can imagine now, instead of 1,000 token thread that I might be working in, I can truncate that down, add it as a project file, and now every chat I have within that project going forward has that compressed or summarized chat. And this prevents it from burning through tokens and having to explain the same information over and over again. But I did want to kind of stop here for a second and kind of remind everybody that even if you do run into your limit, there is kind of a mindset thing that we have to go through here. That's not necessarily a bad thing. If you actually go through your tokens, that actually means you're using AI and you're leveraging it in your business. And that should actually be something that you not necessarily be proud of, but something that you can feel confident in, that you're making use of these tools, that you're investing your money in. So keep that in mind. And we're just trying to make better use of that investment. So I'm going to move into tier 3 hacks. And this is kind of my final round of these. And these are for more advanced strategies and power users. This is going to take some setup in some regards. So you are probably better suited using the tier 1 and maybe some of the tier 2 tips I gave you up until this point, but tier 3 is going to be a little bit more advanced. So first of all, build a prompt library in Notion or Google Docs. And I would even add, because I use it all the time, is Obsidian or like Apple Notes, any place where you have quick access to these prompts, so you can organize battle-tested prompts by category. So organize it by acquisitions, tenant communications, booking summaries, contractor bids, deal analysis. So stop reinventing the wheel with every session. This is not only going to save you time, but as you are refining these prompts, you're going to find you're going to make better use of those tokens. Use Claude via API for repetitive tasks. If you find that you're doing the same task over and over, like generating property descriptions or tenant welcome letters, connect Claude to a tool like N8N or Zapier and automate the repetitive prompts so you're not burning your plan usage or manual copy-paste sessions. And this is where I'm going to plug Real Deal Crew. So if you need help with this type of stuff, which is more advanced, you can always reach out to me, realdealcrew.com, and I'm happy to get on a call or chat with you about that. Hack number 15, layer Claude with other tools to reduce the load. So use ChatGPT or Gemini for simple, quick tasks, formatting, spell check, short emails, and reserve Claude for the heavy lifting. It excels at complex reasoning, legal language drafting, deal analysis, those type of things. And in fact, I would tell you there's tools like E3 Chat, Merlin, and a couple others where you can actually have access to multiple models in one platform. And T3 Chat, get in there for as little as $8 per month, which is ridiculously cheap. And then you can just jump between the different models instead of having a subscription to just ChatGPT or what have you. And maybe I'll save that for another episode as regarding those type of tools. Another one is hack number 16, archive outputs, don't regenerate. So save Claude's best outputs in a swipe file. If you wrote you a perfect lease clause or gave you a great outreach script, save it. Don't burn tokens regenerating the same thing over and over and over again. And this is actually something that I'm going to be touching on down the road as there are increasing number of tools, including being able to tie Claude into a tool like Obsidian and have that as a reference and kind of as your second brain. So stay tuned, subscribe to the channel, and maybe we'll see that coming up here in the near future. Hack number 17, use structured output requests. So ask Claude to respond in JSON, tables, or structured formats when you're feeding data downstream into spreadsheets or CRMs. So a cleaner output equals fewer revision cycles and fewer tokens wasted. This is something that I've learned, especially because I worked with a realtor recently who has built multiple websites. One of the things that they wanted was their information sent into this pipe drive that they were using as their CRM. And unfortunately, because the way AI leverages and builds websites these days, the forms on each page were not structured the same. So I helped them get all of the websites and forms in line so that it was producing the exact same JSON file each time so that we could then tie it into an N8N workflow and send it to their CRM of choice. So getting that structured data output is great. Hack number 18, build a real estate AI stack and assign each tool a role. So Claude for reasoning and drafting, Perplexity for market research, ChatGPT for quick tasks, an automation tool like Zapier, Make.com for repetitive workflows. When each tool has a lane, you stop over relying on Claude for everything, which naturally extends your usage. So just keep that in mind as well. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Learn and experience some of these other tools because they do have different strengths. And when you leverage some of those old school automation tools like N8N, Zapier, Make.com, you have less likely that your AI is going to hallucinate. You can kind of put up some of those additional guardrails. So in the end, to summarize, what am I hoping that you get out of this? Well, don't try to implement all of these at once. Pick 3 of these you're not doing today and implement them this week. You'll be shocked how much further your Claude plan goes. And if you want to automate the whole thing, that's exactly what we build at Real Deal Crew. So head over to realdealcrew.com. You can find my podcasts, socials, everything there. Really appreciate your time, and we'll see you next time.